Namaste. We now start part 3 on this series on essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In this part, we will cover chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9 and chapter 10. Let us begin with chapter 7. The Yoga of Wisdom and Realization. Jnana Vijnana Yoga, which consists of 30 verses. Let us begin the gist. Shri Krishna tells Arjun that the Supreme Godhead has to be realized in both its transcendent and immanent aspects. The yogi who has reached this summit has nothing more to know. This complete union with the Lord is difficult of attainment. Among many thousands of human beings, very few aspire for this union, and even among those who aspire for it, few ever reach the pinnacle of spiritual realization. The Lord has already given a clear description of the all-pervading, static and infinite state of His. Now, He proceeds to explain His manifestations as the universe and the power behind it. He speaks of these manifestations as His lower and higher prakritis. The lower prakriti is made up of the 5 elements: mind, ego and intellect. The higher prakriti is the life element which affolds the universe, activates it and causes its appearance and final dissolution. Krishna says that whatever exists is nothing but Himself. He is the cause of the appearance of the universe and all things in it. Everything is strung on Him like clusters of gems on a string. He is the essence, substance and substratum of everything, whether visible or invisible. Although everything is in Him, yet He transcends everything as the actionless self. Prakriti or nature is made up of the 3 gunas or qualities: sattva, rajas and tamas. These 3 qualities delude the soul and make it forget its true nature, which is one with God. This delusion, termed Maya, can only be removed by the grace of the Lord Himself. Thus far, Arjun has been taught the highest form of devotion, which leads to union with God in His static aspect, as also with His dynamic prakriti. Krishna tells him that there are also other forms of devotion which are inferior, as they are performed with various motives. The distressed, the seeker of divine wisdom, and he who desires wealth worship Him, as also the wise. Of this, the Lord deems the wise as dearest to Him. Such a devotee loves the Lord for the sake of pure love alone. Whatever form the devotee worships, the ultimate goal is the Lord Himself. The Lord accepts such worship, knowing that it is directed to Him only. Here we conclude chapter 6. We will begin the gist of chapter 7. The Yoga of Imperishable Brahman. Chapter 8, Akshar Brahma Yoga, which consists of 28 verses. Let us begin the gist. Lord Krishna explains how those who attain Him do not have to come again into this impermanent world of sorrow and pain. All beings, including even the gods, come again and again into this created universe from the state of unmanifest being, wherein they remained at the end of an age cycle. But the Lord exists even beyond this unmanifest being. That radiant, imperishable, divine reality is the highest goal to be attained. Single-minded devotion of our heart is the means of attaining this highest blessed state. Even though there are auspicious and inauspicious circumstances of departing from the physical body and journeying forth, yet if one steadily abides in the Lord through firm devotion and faith, then these conditions do not matter. By always remaining in tune with the Lord through pure love, everything is made auspicious. If one can ever remain united with the Divine through deep devotion, constant remembrance, regular meditation, and continuous communion, then all times, places, conditions, and situations become auspicious and blessed. This is the secret of invoking His grace and attaining Him and becoming eternally free and blissful. Arjun here asks Lord Krishna about the meaning of the different terms referred to by him in the last two verses of the previous chapter. He wishes to know what is the Supreme Being, what is karma or action that he refers to, and what is the meaning that pertains to this spirit, the elements and the center of all things within this human body. Beyond all things manifest and unmanifest, beyond these names and forms, there is the Supreme Being, Brahman. He indwells this body as the center of all things, including even our own self, individual soul. We are a spiritual being residing in this body and supported by the silent witness within, the Supreme Antaryamin. Prakriti or nature is the being pertaining to all elements. Worship, prayer and offering to the gods with faith and devotion constitute actions that lead to blessedness. The secret of reaching the Divine Being and thus freeing oneself forever from birth and death and the pains and sufferings of this earth life is to constantly practice unbroken remembrance of the Lord at all times, in all places, and even amidst one's daily activities. If one practices such steady remembrance through regular daily sadhana, then he will be rooted in his remembrance even at the time of departing from this body at death. Thus departing, he will go beyond darkness and bondage and attain the realm of eternal blessedness. One must practice sense control. The senses must be well disciplined and gradually withdrawn from outside objects. The mind should be centered within upon God. By uttering Om or any divine name, by such steady practice daily, the Lord is easily attained. Here we conclude chapter 8. Let us begin gist of chapter 9, the yoga of kingly science and the kingly secret. Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga, which consists of 34 verses. Observing that Arjun was a qualified aspirant and endowed with faith, Krishna declares to him the sovereign knowledge and sovereign secret that is to be known by direct experience. He adds that without faith in this knowledge, man fails to reach God and is reborn to suffer. Now, the Lord proceeds to describe His nature as the eternal, all-comprehensive truth. He is everything that is invisible and visible. He pervades everything that exists. He creates everything, sustains everything, and when final dissolution takes place, absorbs everything into Himself. He manifests them again when the next creation begins. All beings who are ignorant of this knowledge are caught helplessly in the cycle of birth and death. In the midst of this creation, preservation and dissolution of the universe, the Lord stands as a silent witness, unaffected and unattached. He is the sole director, sustainer and supervisor of His cosmic Prakriti. Ignorant beings are not able to recognize the Lord in one who has realized Him. Although these cruel beings assume a human form, their nature is that of demons. The God-realized Mahatma, on the other hand, is a man of knowledge and perceives Him indwelling all beings and creatures. He beholds the underlying unity of existence in all names and forms. The Lord's divine protection is assured to all those who take refuge in Him. Whatever path a devotee follows, he ultimately reaches Him. He is the goal of various methods of spiritual practice. Devotion, Sri Krishna emphasizes, is the essence of all spiritual discipline. If this supreme element is present, then the devotee is freed from bondage. The Lord observes the motive and degree of devotion. Even the most sinful and diabolical man, if he takes a radical turn towards the path of righteousness and truth, reaches the Lord. Whatever vocation one follows, one can attain the Lord if one seeks earnestly and with loving devotion. The essential thing is to fix the mind on the Lord and dedicate everything unto Him, one's body, mind, action, emotion and will. Here we conclude chapter 9. Let us now begin gist of chapter 10, the Yoga of Divine Glories, Vibhuti Vistara Yoga, which consists of 42 verses. Krishna tells Arjuna that even the Devas and highly evolved souls fail to understand how he projects himself as the universe and all its manifestations. He goes on to describe the various qualities that beings manifest according to their karmas. All these qualities, wisdom, truth, contentment, etc., originate from him. The true devotees of the Lord are wholly absorbed in Him. They have completely surrendered to Him, and through single-minded devotion, they are granted the power of discrimination, the discrimination that leads them from the unreal to the real. Krishna emphatically declares that ignorance is destroyed and knowledge gained through divine grace alone. Arjuna accepts the descent of the Supreme in a human form, but wishes to know from the Lord Himself His cosmic powers by means of which He controls the diverse forces of the universe. The Lord describes His divine glories, bringing within the range of Arjuna's comprehension His limitless manifestations and how He upholds everything. In short, the Lord is Almighty Power that creates, sustains and destroys everything. Here we conclude chapter 10 and part 3 of this gist of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for listening. In the next narration video, we will cover the next chapters 11, 12, 13 and 14. Thank you for listening.